Here we can see how we might do homework 3 in a step-by-step procedure. First, you want to describe 2 study techniques that apply at least 2 of the ideas found in chapters 5. Mainly chapters 5, but also chapter 6 is helpful. So chunking, collaborative rehearsal, and imagery. And here are the page numbers for those. 121 for chunking, 126 for collaborative rehearsal. Imagery uses any kind of mental imagery or just looking at a picture of something even. And there is this thing called the picture superiority effect that says that if you have a person who is listening to words or seeing them written, and in contrast another person who is showing pictures of items, the one showing the pictures is one that's going to remember them better. So there's the idea that pictures are worth more than words. There's some truth to that. So imagery is a technique that I would encourage if it's an effective one. And it's certainly something that we can apply easily to how you would study. So you start off with your 2, so you just name them, chunking, making diagrams, and then you would give concrete examples of what you would do to study a particular concept using each of those 2 ideas. So here, for chunking, I would say how I might memorize the steps in a statistical analysis. So maybe I might have to check run the descriptives, so I can check to see if I have skewness or kurtosis, what's going to mean, check for outliers, do my analysis of variance, and then check the effect size through the Cohen-Fee analysis. So if you've taken Section 101, some of these are going to probably be familiar to you. And so it's helpful sometimes to remember a list of items, and so we can use chunking, where maybe I take the first letter, E, O, so D for descriptive, O for outliers, A for analysis of variance, and then C for Cohen-Fee, and then I can maybe create a sentence where a word that starts with B, O, A, C, or I can just make a nonsense phrase, a word called doke, right, D-O-A-C. And in that case, I'm just condensing this long description here and condensing it into a much smaller piece of information. And that means it's better able to fit inside of short-term memory, because remember, short-term memory is limited to 7 plus or minus 2 items, right? And so it just reduces the number of items that are here in short-term memory, so I can free up space for other types of thinking. So that's really helpful. An example that we also looked at was remembering the colors in the rainbow using the Roy-G-Biv acronym. So Roy-G-Biv, red, and yellow. And so we create a simple mnemonic device using chunking, where we take many words and condense them into just a name, Roy G. Biv. So that is how I would give a concrete example of chunking. I would do the same thing for perhaps using imagery. So if I wanted to remember the lobes of the brain, my central executive might say, hey, why don't you draw a diagram? So here I have a little diagram of the brain, and how I might diagram the brain, label frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, and temporal lobe. And then describe how each technique would help process information effectively in the sensory register of working memory. So sensory registers would just see it, hear it, and so on. You pay attention to it, bring it into short-term memory. Chunking allows you to process it effectively because you limit the number of items, so that's good, making it more likely that you'll encode it and store it into long-term memory so that you can hopefully retrieve it later on. Likewise, if you use imagery, I'm going to look at what I need to study. I'm going to enter the sensory register. I'm going to pay attention to it. My central executive here is going to decide, hey, let's use the Visual Spatial Sketchpad. Visual Spatial Sketchpad is going to make a diagram of the brain and label it frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal. And then by doing that, I am more likely to be able to successfully encode it here into long-term memory so that I can retrieve it. Later on.